Now we have this important topic to be discussed as neglected tropical disease. Tropical, as you understand, the region between the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, and in the middle we have this passage of equator at 0 degree, right? So this 23.5 degree north, 23.5 degrees south, it is basically the tropical regions, right? And till 30 degree north and 30 degree south, that means 6.5 degree north, beyond the tropical of Cancer, and this below the Tropic of Capricorn, the same degree, we generally consider it as the torrid zone, because here majorly the sunlight remains throughout the year without any hindrances. So this is just the geographical setup. The tropical we just know about. But now this neglected tropical disease, what is this concept, why has it come into the concern? So we should understand this, because many shocking data as you will be coming up across within this context. So here many prelim focused questions might be coming. So let's start this topic from the basic information, that is the the ongoing World Health Assembly, which is right now sitting and going on. It is the 74th ongoing National World Health Assembly, right? It is basically the 74th World Health Assembly. World Health Assembly, that is said that every year Jan 30 shall be celebrated or shall be observed as World's Neglected Tropical Disease Day, right? The 30th January, and it is decided in the 74th World Health Assembly that it will be observed as this day, right? Now this proposal to celebrate this day is floated by UAE. Important point for our prelims, that this proposal of observing this day, this is proposed by UAE, that is United Arab Emirates. Important for your prelims, right? However, it was informally adopted in 2020, where we just have to focus on this area. And the World Health Assembly is the decision making body of WHO. This is important, right? The World Health Assembly is the important decision making body of WHO, right? So these are the prelims focused points generally. Now let's get into the analytical part. So just listen to this as a form of story, that what is happening in this context. Neglected tropical diseases are a group of infections, right, that are most common among marginalized communities in the developing regions of Africa, Asia and Americas, especially in the tropical regions. That means that it is a group of infectious diseases that are most common among the marginalized communities, not all communities, among the marginalized communities, because marginalized communities, they have limited access to health perspective, and their data are not very highly collected, because they do not come in the light of the medical practitioners and the people who are collecting these data through the institutional mechanisms, right? Very basic reason. They are caused by a variety of pathogens such as virus, bacteria, protozoa and parasitic worms, as you can see now on your screen. See here, just if you look at the different areas of this topic, that like how and why this issue has come up, you will get to know that this issue is very important, because 120 million have lymphatic filariasis, 120 million people have this disease, lymphatic filariasis, almost 99% has onchocerciasis, intestinal worms, 270 million preschool age girls. Like, this data is very scary, and it is not good for humanities, because especially in the wake of this corona type of situation, because where the entire world has gone into this lockdown phases. So understanding the all the and basic studies of what all issues are affecting the vulnerable categories or marginalized communities, that must remain the priority of World Health Organization. That is why they are discussing this issue, right? So it is basically caused by a variety of pathogens, as I said: virus, bacteria, protozoa, and parasitic worms, right? And this neglected tropical diseases are especially common in tropical areas, as I said, geographically, where people do not have access to clean water. Because in the tropic regions, the clean water availability is a big issue, or safe way to dispose human waste, right? Because since in India, you have seen that the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and this national sanitization program, where the use of toilet has been promoted, and the behavioral change has been given more focus upon. But do you think that the same nature program at this massive level is going on in Africa, where the basic sustenance is the most prime factor of human survivability, where people in many countries like Sierra Leone, many other countries like Burundi, Ghana, and Zimbabwe, even for that matter, or the other parts of the Eastern Africa, Western Coast, and the southern southwestern African continent countries, do you think that these people are concentrating enough on the safe disposal of human excreta, or their basic survivability is at stake of arranging 2 square meal, which is important, right? Now, since we are already there in the wake of corona, so that is why we are giving more focus on the waterborne diseases and the safe dispose of human waste, so that the human waste is not actually polluting the already scantily available pure water we have worth consumption. So otherwise the vicious cycle will be created, and these diseases will never be in the control of people, and that might be communicated in a disastrous way, right? Now, the diseases generally receive less funding for research and treatment, right? The diseases like TB, HIV, AIDS, and malaria are on prominent, right? So the funding is again an issue in the tropical regions. These are the reasons we are discussing. So examples of this neglected tropical diseases we can consider as snake bite envenomation, scabies, yaws, trachoma, leishmaniasis, and Chagas disease. Many of the diseases are either related to blood or skin, especially in African continent. As you can see on the screen, the caused by frequent bites by infected black flies, right? So this is generally, and many people living in Africa are infected due to this issue, right? And they are blind, they have many skin diseases issues. Infections are caused by exposure to contaminated soil through ingestion or contact with the skin, intestinal worms, right? So all these issues are highly prominent in African continent. Within this context, if we talk about London Declaration about this neglected tropical disease, it was adopted on 30th January 2012 to recognize the global burden of NTD. So this London Declaration 2012 is talked about the neglected tropical diseases around the world for the first time, right? It gave burden over it. So it is important for you to make a note of it, because many times questions like Beijing platform, which is about the women, it was asked in 2015, and sometimes the options are so far away placed that you cannot make a linkage that about what it is talking about, right? So this London Declaration, it is in this context. Officials from WHO, the World Bank, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation representatives from leading global pharmaceuticals companies, as well as representatives of several national governments, they met at London's Royal College of Physicians to pledge to end the diseases. All these people, That is how this London Declaration came up. Now, what is the roadmap of WHO about this neglected tropical diseases for 2021 to 2030? Right? First is they want to measure the impact, because we need to assess the area where this issues is highly prevalent and how long and how far we have to put our efforts in, right? From disease specific planning, because we cannot give a blanket cover or general solution. We have to be disease specific, because one is about vision, one is about skin, one is about snake bite, one is about waterborne disease. So the focus should be on the category of the disease, and the planning must be made accordingly, and programming to collaborative work across sectors. And if we can see that if we can do a multi integrated approach, then only we have to work in this direction, right? From externally driven agendas reliant to programs that are country owned and country financed, right? So here, those who can capably devote, they should come forward and take their initiatives, because here manforce or manpower, the fundings, the technology, the research, the pharmaceuticals, products, machinery, everything will be required, because the regions where these diseases are prevalent, they have almost nothing to cope up with that or to fight against. So therefore, this is a big problem in this context, right? Now, let's just take a demographic profile, that how many people or what volume of people are affected with this neglected tropical disease. It affects 1 billion people globally. 1 billion is 100 crores, right? Almost 75% population of India. You can see that it is affected, and you can see that if the diseases become so communicable in nature, then entire world will be in its gross, because world's population is remaining somewhere about 7 to 8 billions, right? Now, they are preventable and treatable. The first important thing is they are preventable and treatable, provided the solution is given on time, right? There are 20 NTDs that impact over 1.7 billion people worldwide, right? In gross, India carries the largest burden. So again, one more accolade for India, that India carries the largest burden of at least 11 of these diseases out of 20 neglected tropical diseases. India is affected with 11, right? And with parasitic illnesses like Kala Azar, lymphatic filariasis, affecting millions of people throughout the country. Of late, if you have carefully observed the news, then filariasis is a kind of disease which is affecting the people due to the water conditions, underground water conditions in many districts of UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, where the abundance of elements, natural elements, is found in very high volume or capacity, or the grading quantity. So this is creating a great, like it has created the scalp-like structures on the hands and skin, that your skin starts shedding down. So this is again a causing a problem, which is also a tropical disease, right? Now, in this context, if we take a look that what all diseases are covered in this context, see, these are let's just make some space here so that you can easily view the or see the diseases here. Some of the neglected tropical diseases identified by WHOs are Buruli ulcer, Chagas, dengue chikungunya, Guinea worm disease, foodborne, human African, leishmaniasis, leprosy, lymphatic, mycetoma, rabies, scabies, snake white, teniasis, trachoma, all these diseases. Some of them in the list here and there, they are making this mention, which is actually creating a trouble for the world, right? Now, in this context, if we see that Indian initiatives, if we talk about to eliminate these neglected tropical diseases, is that we have this APLF, that is Accelerated Plan for Elimination of Lymphatic Filariasis. was launched in 2018. The accelerated plan for elimination of lymphatic filariasis that was launched in 2018 as part of intensifying efforts towards the elimination of neglected tropical diseases. And a WHO supported regional alliance established by the government of India, Bangladesh and Nepal, regional alliance in 2005, is to expedite early diagnosis and treatment of the most vulnerable populations and improve disease surveillance and control of sandfly population, that is Kala Azar, that spreads the Kala Azar. So again, within these three contexts, we have working or of lately since 2005 and 2018, and India has already eliminated several other entities, which is a good sign that India is progressive in this context. The Guinea worm, trachoma and yaws, these three diseases we have successfully eradicated from the country, and we are moving effortfully within this direction. But here the support of those who have fundings, who have technology, who have trained manpower, who have great nursing procedures, they need to come up, because this issue cannot be handled by the developing countries, because the major problem is the infrastructure backed by the funding. Funding is the most important thing here. And when in this context, if you see that the trademarks, the patent, the rights of the pharmaceutical products and medicines, if you are seeing here vaccinations and other programs, then how the world will cope up. And do not disagree with this fact that how development or whatsoever level of development is achieved by the developed countries. If developing countries are not doing well in these lines, then ultimately the spread will be so massive that developed countries alone cannot tackle those issues. We have seen the issue of COVID, because China is not yet a developed country, it is still a developing country, and nobody knows that what is the scientific reason of having this virus in the world, that it is replicating at so high level and high pace that world is not yet able to understand and decode the genome or this genome sequences of this virus to the end. So in this manner, I just want to say that where 1 billion people are affected because of this neglected tropical diseases, and so many diseases are also affecting almost 1.7 billion population, then how can world sleep at peace that the world is in the safe environment? Because water is ultimately in the underground, and underground water has no territory unless it is divided by the oceans or the seas. But the ultimate thing here is that trade is there, people to people contact is there, and no country can remain in this today's era of globalization and people exchange that they can stay at home or in the national boundaries and without any connections with the outer world, right? So in this manner, this entire context, entire danger that might be called as a new danger for the century, 21st century, that this neglected tropical disease has to be fought collectively with combined efforts, targeting at one vision only: to eradicate and to save the 1 billion people, that is 100 crore people, from the danger of extinction within this context. So this topic is very important from prelims and mains analytical perspective. So we have discussed it. Thank you so much.